There is
Please,
a
I'm
debt
inviting
of
other person now.
51
It will not
at
go
the
on
end
record
of
now anymore.
21-22.
No, please. Mani Sri Mahesh Jethmalani. Mani Mahesh Jethmalani, please. Mani Mahesh Jethmalani, please speak on the subject, please. Your time is 15 minutes. Your time is 15 minutes. Please speak. Please speak. It's nothing. It's not going on record. Please follow the rules. Please. Please speak. You speak. It's not going on record. It's not going on record. You speak. Please.
Honorable Chairman, I thank you for this opportunity to speak on this most important subject of the economic health of this country. Sir, the essence of the criticism from the opposition benches, led in the main by former Finance Minister Mr. Chidambaram and Honourable Member Mr. Derek O'Brien, is that there is no point in the present government tom-tomming about India's high growth rate, when the ground reality, when on the ground, this high growth rate has not translated into indicators vital for the poor, such as high employment and low inflation. Sir, Mr. Chidambaram, as usual, has shifted the goalpost. But this shift is heartening in one respect. In April this year, citing the World Bank's latest GDP estimate for India, he attacked the government and he said that it was only Mr. Modi who was boasting about the economic growth rate in the country. The World Bank development update, which he relied on, had cut India's growth forecast to 6.3% from the earlier 6.6%. Mr. Chidambaram, however, has been repeatedly wrong about his economic forecasts regarding the NDA government's policies and programs. Again, the World Bank estimates have proved to be hopelessly wrong, and in the last 2 quarters, India's growth rate has been very impressive and way above the world average growth rate at 7.6% and 7.8%. Now, sir, Mr. Chidambaram, in a clear case of what can only be called convenient amnesia, he now accepts the growth rate. He doesn't dispute these figures, though he earlier did, and criticized us for boasting about it and predicting this high growth rate. So now he has moved on from his blind reliance on foreign forecasts about India's growth, but he laments now that what use high growth rates if high unemployment and high inflation persist. Now, sir, on employment, Mr. Chidambaram relies upon the periodic labor force survey. So it's a very good survey. It has got good methodology and its data is unexceptionable. So let us go by the PLFS data. First, sir, the data reflects, and sir, I'm afraid I'll have to read this out because there are figures involved. Normally, I don't like reading it out. Normally, I like to address it ad hoc, extempore. But sir, I'll read it out. First, the data reflects that both in quantity and quality, the employment situation improved consistently before the COVID pandemic. From 2017-18 to 2019-20, regular wage stroke salaried employees increased by 1.5 crores, a growth of 13.2%. The increase among females was 0.72 crores, or 29.4%, and that for males, 0.79 crores, or 8.8%. Further, formal employment increased by 1.2 crores, or 25.3%. The quantity of employment improved pre-pandemic as well. From 2017-18, to 2019-20, the UR, that is the unemployment rate, which captures long-term unemployment, decreased from 6% to 4.8%. The labor force participation rate, LFPR, increased from 49.8% to 53.5%. And so the worker population ratio increased from 46.8% to 50.9%. These changes were widely dispersed in rural and urban areas and for males and females. Now, sir, this is the pre-COVID. So as everybody knows, there was a setback to the economy during COVID. But let us come to the post-COVID situation. Post-COVID, urban employment registered a robust V-shaped recovery after the adverse impacts during lockdown and the second wave of the pandemic. Compared to the October-December 2019 quarter, in the April-June 2023 quarter, the worker population ratio increased from 44.1% to 45.5%. And, sir, the labor force participation ratio from 47.8% to 48.8%. And, sir, unemployment rate declined from 7.8 to 6.6%. So as urban areas were most affected by the pandemic, the complete recovery in employment in urban areas is crucial. The unemployment rate recorded in April-June 2023 quarter is the lowest, sir. This is important. The unemployment rate recorded in April-June 2023 quarter is the lowest over the last 5 years. Sir, the annual PLFS, which Mr. Chidambaram relies upon, the survey data, which covers both rural and urban areas, also shows complete recovery in employment post-pandemic. This pattern of complete recovery in employment is reflected similarly in data from, sir, EPFO, which is the Employees Provident Fund Organization, and Manrega. The monthly EFPO data discloses, and this is again a very important statistic, that the net additions in August 23 as being 116% higher than in December 2019. Honorable Chairman, you know that this EPFO data, the additions to it is employees' contributions. 116% additions to the EPFO reflect the quantum of employees that have arisen, the quantum of employment, therefore, that has risen. The demand for work, sir, this is also very important, under Manrega in December 2022 is half the demand in 2023. So Manrega is when people are desperate for work. They have no other work. It is now half the demand. This shows that the demand for distress work has declined sharply in rural areas. So finally, sir, as per PLFS, again the same survey which Mr. Chidambaram relies upon, the unemployment rate for persons, this is an overall picture, the unemployment rate for persons aged 15 and above at the all India level decreased to 3.2% only, sir, in 22-23 from 4.1% in 21-22. So that's the state of the unemployment which Mr. Chidambaram harps on. So then as regards inflation, as per data released by the National Statistic Office, the NSO, the consumer price index was 4.25% in May this year, 4.81% in June this year, and 5.02% in September, well before Reserve Bank, well below Reserve Bank India's upper tolerance limit of 6%. So we have been below 6% continuously, sir. And so ultimately the ultimate test, sir, forget figures and statistics. Employment, sir, and inflation are matters of great concern to the poor. Overwhelmingly, the only test about whether unemployment and inflation is hurting people are the election results. Sir, the overwhelming results show, sir, that people are satisfied with employment and inflation levels. Sir, a former British Prime Minister is alleged to have said that there were three kinds of lies. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. Sir, Mr. Chidambaram is an excellent juggler of facts. I leave it to members of the House and others watching this debate to decide which category do Mr. Chidambaram's statements fall within. So perhaps it merits emphasis that as Finance Minister, Mr. Chidambaram presided over some of the greatest scams this country has seen, which devastated our banking sector, ruined investors, and severely retarded economic growth, and the very important indicators of employment and inflation, which he has so eloquently waxed about in this House. So the only silver lining, I may add, personally, is that his activities and those of his government have, in their aftermath, enriched a battalion of lawyers whose earnings, sir, I cannot grudge. Sir, now, sir, Honourable Member Mr. O'Brien, being a leader from a regional party, the TMC, has struck a parochial note, sir. He talks about, sir, 8.5% growth rate in West Bengal, which is true. Can't deny that. So being a member of a national party, I have all India concerns. But I do admit to having a soft corner for West Bengal, having studied in a boarding school there from the age of 10 to 16 in that picturesque hill station, Darjeeling. So the burden of Mr. O'Brien's song is that India's high growth rate has only enriched billionaires and widened the inequality gap. Sir, I acknowledge, as I said, that West Bengal has a high growth rate of 8.4%, which is above the national average. But perhaps an examination of statewide data should reveal to Mr. O'Brien where the fruits of economic growth in West Bengal have gone. Sir, if per capita income is a measure of economic welfare, then West Bengal per capita income is well below the national average, and in fact, apart from a few northeastern states, one of the lowest in the country. Then, sir, again, on the question of income inequality, which he talks so much about, so as per the Gini coefficient, so the Gini coefficient is now a measure used by economists to measure income inequality, income distribution. So as a measure of inequality, West Bengal has a coefficient of 0.38, which is the third largest in the country and more than the national average. So if you go by income inequality, income distribution, his state performs the third worst in the country. So perhaps he needs to ask, as a former quiz master, some questions of himself, and he may discover some home truths. Sir, in conclusion, it is the right of the opposition not merely to ask questions, but to ask incisive, searching questions of the Treasury benches. But, sir, equally, it behoves the opposition not to buttress their case with selective facts, slanted questions, and distorted data. So the people of this country deserve to know from their elected representatives the unvarnished truth. I thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Honorable Sri Binay